From the moment we open our eyes as newborns to waking up every morning, we are presented with situations and environments which challenge our cognitive ability. The beginning of our day can shape our behavior and our interactions with whomever we meet. In the same way, the opening scene of a film shapes our perception of the world presented in the motion picture. Therefore, our perception of the world will vary based on the information provided. Camera movement, lighting, and perspective are just a few elements we can use to figure out which direction the filmmaker will take the story. Hi, my name is Danielle, and this is the importance of the opening scene. The opening scene of a film carries weight unlike any other. It is, after all, the viewer's diving board into the story, and depending on what the director or writer wants to achieve, the story may start in different ways. Therefore, for a war film like 1917, the first thing we see is a date, presented like the date of a diary entry, which then fades out to be the title of the movie. However, we are not yet bombarded by planes, guns, and warfare. Instead, as the camera pulls back on a sunny green field, two men dressed as soldiers are revealed, asleep. As they are awoken by a faceless soldier, this is where our journey begins. We follow these characters as they walk to get further instruction from their higher-ups. The war camp soon revealed to us. However, one soldier constantly remains in front of the other, even as they slept. This type of blocking shows supremacy, not in power or status, but in story. And as these soldiers embark on their journey, it is confirmed that this is our main character, and he must make this journey alone. The journey is long and tumultuous, but as the film comes to a close, we are greeted with a familiar scene: a sunny green field, a tree, and a soldier at peace, asleep. This and the final words of the film are a reflection of the opening sequence. We then can gather that this film was a story, once lived and now retold, like rereading an entry in an old journal. However, the 1975 thriller Jaws begins with underwater noises until the iconic menacing overture begins. As the music speeds up, we are placed underwater, the title of the movie coming soon after. As the camera moves through the water and the credits roll, the music gets louder and faster, presenting us with the tone of dread which permeates throughout the film, and preparing us for the threat that is present within the murky depths. The scene, however, immediately cuts to the mainland, where a group of young people, teenagers, congregate around a fire, and what we as an audience expect from teenagers in movies is recklessness. Steven Spielberg immediately feeds our expectations as two run off, separating themselves from the group, obviously drunk. With our hearts still racing from the initial threat presented, it immediately sinks with panic as Chrissy gleefully exclaims they're going swimming. Once she swims out far enough, we are back underwater with the threat, her screams and panic going unheard, and she is soon submerged, meeting her demise. This scene sets the tone of angst in the audience for the rest of the film, set on Amity Island, where water and the ocean are the main source of recreation for the islanders during this 4th of July period. Therefore, these two scenes from two different types of movies show the disparity in how the opening scene of a film may achieve its purpose through its style. However, a film may share the same base characteristics for a genre, while the elements present more fit into a subgenre within that category. Just as a thriller may have the base elements and tropes which portray a sense of suspense, anticipation, and surprise, these elements can be twisted to form subgenres such as psychological thrillers, crime thrillers, and mystery thrillers, to name a few. However, the opening scene of a mystery thriller will tell a vastly different story than a comedic thriller, and this is blatantly evident within the worlds of Get Out by Jordan Peele and Knives Out by Rian Johnson. In the film Get Out, the story revolves around a secret everyone but Chris and the audience are in on. However, the audience has an edge over Chris, since the opening sequence hints at something peculiar happening in this world. The scene is dimly lit by a handful of streetlights, while the deep space created by the lines of the hedges and the sidewalk instills a sense of unease in the audience. Now camera movement becomes integral as a singular figure walks into the frame. Hunched and apprehensive on his phone, the sequence progresses as the camera continues to pull out. Once he hangs up the phone, the camera rotates around him into a tracking shot. But the tension in the scene is maintained as a car pulls into frame and the camera, like a vulture eyeing its prey, slowly swings back around for the audience to see the car doing an unexpected U-turn. These different elements being revealed to the viewer continue to add meaning to the scene. The repetition of the camera movement symbolizes the trap he's in and the working relationship between the person on the phone and the driver of the car. As the car is slowed next to him and his fear grows, he turns around, the camera movement tracking him, implying for a short moment that he may have control of the situation. However, the camera falls back into place in front of him, creating that feeling of dread in the audience as he falls directly into the trap set up for him. Therefore, the camera acts as a surveyor, analyzing the situation with no way to impact it, just as the audience must watch the victim helplessly. Once the prey is caught, the camera stops tracking and the audience is given a wide shot of the scenery before jump cutting to the title screen. This scene sets a tone of dread and anticipation for the rest of the film, leaving the audience wondering where and who exactly we are trying to escape from. Meanwhile, in Knives Out, the scene is immediately set as the Thrombey mansion is placed in view. The eerie atmosphere set by the music, coupled with the fog, is immediately juxtaposed by the sudden change in tone of the music, and the scene is cut to the mug with the hilariously immature phrase, "My house, my rules, my coffee." The music becomes playful as the housekeeper walks with the breakfast, and we get quick shots of the house and its decor. The figurines and statues on their own, signifying the period of investigation the family must soon go through. A pair of eyes watching their every move. Followed by the frames of movie posters and books by Harlan Thrombey, giving us our first indication that the owner of the house is a renowned writer and lover of theatrics. As we follow the housekeeper, the whimsy within the house is further revealed, exposing Mr. Thrombey's character even more, especially when she doesn't find him in his bed and she immediately turns and kicks the wall, revealing a door. When she arrives and finds him laying down dead, she doesn't scream and drop the tray. However, her hands begin to quiver as she spills the breakfast, and her reaction seems geared toward her dropping the contents of the tray more than finding him dead. We are then shown the title screen, effectively leaving us asking, who done it? The scene is not set up to be menacing or invoke fear. It is there to set up a movie which takes pride in its ironies and comedic value while playing to its strength as a detective mystery. We as an audience get so much more from the opening sequence of a film than we realize upon first watch. And if it is done right, rewatching the film becomes an even better experience than the first when the actions we are presented are nuanced by what we know is going to happen later. Films then work backwards, opening our eyes after the fact that we have gone through the intended climax and resolution of the story. Would you then believe me if I told you? Beginnings are the best part.